this is pretty much where I want, first of all, weed is free. No, not free, but you can smoke it and you can buy it. And so I could work in distributing it, one would think, as opposed to in Texas where I could do that conceivably and yet end up, in trouble.
Hello and welcome to Here in LA, Van Nuys edition. Today we talk with Asher Garber, a fascinating man who grew up in the Valley, moved over to Austin, where he lived for over 20 years, running a groundbreaking rock and roll club, and recently moved back to the Valley because Texas just ain't big enough for him. Asher is a big-time Dodger fan, a music lover, and an all-around mensch, unless you cross him in the comment section online. We talked on a rainy day in the Val as he fed his dog treats to keep him from wilding out. You might hear his chain rattling a little or his collar rattling. We talked about some tragedies that crossed Asher's path as a young man. We talked about how he helped shape the Austin music scene, South by Southwest, and marijuana. So, with no further ado, here's Asher. Hey, everybody. I'm in Van Nuys with Asher.
Hello.
How are you?
Oh, I'm in Van Nuys with Tony. It's great.
Asher, welcome back to the Valley.
Thank you very much.
You grew up here, right?
I did. I was born in, I guess, the Reseda area was the hospital. And then I was around for that very first earthquake, the 1971 earthquake, the Silmar earthquake, I guess it's
Do you
called.
remember it at all?
Well, I don't remember it, but it was probably like the happiest time in our family's history because my parents had thought that my crib was usually underneath my dad's bookshelf, and my grandparents had visited for a week. And so they had rolled my crib out into the middle of the room, and my grandparents slept under the bookshelves. And then my grandparents had left, and the earthquake happened that morning, and my parents had no idea if the books were falling on top of me. And so they came running down in unison to my room, and I was standing in the crib, apparently, looking at all this stuff falling down, thinking this is the greatest thing ever. And they were so happy to see me. It was like the happiest moment the three of us have had together.
Wow.
Because they were divorced like 3 years later,
Really?
Yeah.
So we went to school together.
Yeah, Santa Barbara. Go Gauchos.
Do you remember me? Because I don't really remember you.
Yeah, not really.
Right.
I think we met through Martin Boer's Gauchos in Space.
Yes, which was right after we graduated.
Right.
He had set up this email list of all these people so that we could keep in touch, because this was well before Facebook and all those other things. So.
And Martin and I ran into each other. So we worked together at the Inside Wave, but we did alternate weeks. He was the political editor, and I was a humor editor. Mm-hmm. And so we were every other week, so we never saw each other in the office. We saw each other at meetings. And so one day I had moved out east, and he was already there. And apparently he was working at The Nation. And I was working in tax law publishing as an editor, as a copy editor. And I went looking for a Mexican restaurant, and I found the Big Enchilada. And I'm standing in line at the Big Enchilada, and Martin Boer is there screaming, "Hey, Inside Wave!" And we're like two gauchos in the middle of Manhattan at the only Mexican restaurant we could find.
How is the Mexican food in New York?
It sucks.
Yeah. Okay, but you were wise. You moved to Austin, Texas.
Right.
How was the Mexican food there?
It was amazing.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Tex-Mex is a wonderful cuisine.
Yeah.
Yes, it's...
So here we are with you back in Van Nuys. This is a relatively new apartment.
Yes.
Is this a new apartment?
Yes, brand new.
You are near, is this the Silver Line? What do they call
this?
this?
That's the G line, the orange line.
The Orange Line, which is a silver bus.
Yeah, and it's on it's on what used to be, I guess, the trolley rails. When I was growing up, they were just rails. And I didn't know what they were, and I thought, it would be really cool to see a train come down these tracks, but they weren't for a train, they were for trolleys, apparently. Mm-hmm. And so during my time in Austin, those tracks were yanked out, and they put in a walkway and a bike path, and they grew green shrubbery around it, and now they've got a bus line going by, and it's great. I love it.
And what's crazy about this apartment is you were super close to this bus line.
Yeah.
But you don't even hear it.
Sometimes you hear it though. Yeah, and it's not bad. I mean,
Yeah.
I like to think of Elwood Blues in his apartment. You know, it's
How often do these trains come by? You don't know the line?
I don't know the line.
So
I'm
often
afraid.
you won't even notice.
I hate calling up a fan and not know his words, but I did it.
I might be the biggest Blues Brothers fan in the world, so
Right on.
you fell right into my trap. Okay, let's talk. Oh my God, what time is it?
That says 420.
Does it always say
It
4:20?
always says 420. I got the idea from my dealer, and I said, you know what? That's such a great idea. I'm buying my own clock, pulling out the batteries, and leaving it at 420.
Oh my God! So that's Bill the cat from Blooms County.
Yes.
Who looks like he's
ready
enjoying the
himself.
420 from time to time. Okay, so when did you move to Austin?
I moved to Austin in April 99.
1999.
Yeah.
And you set up one of the coolest rock clubs in Austin, which is saying
Thank you.
something.
Yeah, thank you.
Because there's lots of cool rock clubs in
There
Austin. And you set yours up on Red River. Is the address 710 Red River?
Yes.
So that's why your club was called Room 710?
Right.
And the reason that I think it's so cool is it reminded me a lot of Isla Vista if Isla Vista had a small rock club in it.
Exactly.
Was that your goal when you...
No, the goal was to do something good with the money I had inherited. You know, in '93, I'm going to go back a little bit. In '93, my mom was murdered, and by her second husband, who then killed himself. And so my sister and I went through the process of grieving as well as inheritance and a lawsuit. And then my grandmother passed away. And so my sister and I ended up with our mother's share of our grandparents' estate. And so it was just a lot of money to have, and there was a lot of pain and agony that was going on because of the murder. And so I was always nervous about using the money for anything that I thought would, like, I don't know, vainglorious aspects, you know, like going on vacations, you know, buying the cars, wearing the furs. Like, there's no need to do anything like that.
I would love to see you in a photo.
The closest we have is my dog shed all over the jeans. So, yeah. So, you know, I arrive in Austin and I have the most money that I would ever have. And I bring my dog down to the dog park. And eventually I meet my business partner there, this other guy who likes to smoke a lot of pot and walks his dog at the dog park. And he happens to know a lot of the rock bands. And he tells me one day, you know, this is what I would do if I had money. And I thought, yeah, you know, that's a great idea. I've got money, you know, might as well help do that. And so we created Room 710.
Now, from what I remember, Red River was not a hot street,
Right.
when you moved into it.
Right.
Was that kind of part of the charm that you could get this club for a little cheaper than if it were on 6th Street?
That was all of Austin in '99. You could get all of Austin for cheaper than LA. And I couldn't do this in Los Angeles. I couldn't open up a rock club in Los Angeles. It's too big of a market. The real estate's too expensive. I got my own shenanigans I got taken advantage of, but it would have been probably 3 times worse than Los Angeles.
Right.
And the club wouldn't have lasted nearly as long as it did in Austin. So
Yeah.
there's still like all that rock and roll bullshit you have to put up with, but it was to a degree that a dumb shit like me could open up one of the hottest rock clubs in town. And Red River has had its own punk rock scene for a long time, but that was where all the homeless were. It had long been where people shot up. You know, if you're going to find heroin, you would find it on Red River. Oh, yeah, like in the 20s.
I was looking in the wrong street. It was right there under my nose.
Well, you had to follow your nose, yeah, down to some really bad alleys that would be like, wow.
Was
fuck
your
you,
back
nose.
alley a place that people shot up?
No, but across the street at Beerland, there was a dead end alley, and that alley was dark.
Right.
And that was where all the shit went down for the crack. I mean, if you're going to see, some poor crack whore blowing 3 guys, it would be outside of Beerland in that alley. Yeah, it was too bad.
I was on the wrong street. Okay. Well, I also want to state on the record, thank you, because you hosted an LAist Battle of the Bands.
That's right.
At Room 710.
That's right.
Which I would never have been able to do in Austin if I had not known of you, because you were generous enough not to charge me anything.
Well, we don't do that.
I appreciate that. And this was during South by Southwest, which is going on right now.
Right.
Do you miss South by Southwest, by the way?
I'm so happy to be far away from South by Southwest. There's always that pang in Austin. It was terrible. It was really bad. We closed in 2009, and so from 2010 till the 2015 or whatever, it was just always a pain in the ass.
Right. So I would go there. First with BuzzNet, shout out Mark Brown, and then later with LAist, and then LA Times. And I always loved it because I'm parachuting in, and I enjoy the 3 or 4 days of tech, and then 5 days of rock and roll, and then I come home and I'm exhausted. Right. And when I was running LAist, I was like, how do we get LAist on the map, especially outside of LA? And I thought, because I'd seen it, that there was kind of not a lot of rock and roll during the tech week.
Right.
And then the rock and roll like slowly built during the music. So I was like, if we could do it like at the tail end of tech and the beginning of music, that would be like the perfect sweet spot, because the bands would kind of be in town, some of them. And so what we did was we got 2 bands from LA. Rocket was one of them, and 2 bands from Austin,
right?
Quiet Company, who was always huge in Austin,
right?
And then you set us up with another.
I'm trying
band.
to remember their name right now.
It was the 3-piece where,
right, a lady. Oh no, she was on fire. I want to say Black Holocaust.
Yeah, I think that's who it was.
Okay,
and they were great.
Yeah,
everybody was great on this bill. And I think we brought some people into your club.
Absolutely.
Sold some beers.
It was wonderful. It's always a win-win situation, something like that, because it's, we were open to sell beer. That was how we made our money. Mm-hmm. So the people who came in, we're not going to charge you a stage fee necessarily. It's always great to get that money during South by, but there's no point necessarily, especially on the Sunday. To us, South by started that following Tuesday with the last local show. And then everything became wristbands.
Okay, so when it's wristbands, when it's South by time, real music time,
yeah,
promoters will pay you a bag of cash and some blow and say, I need your club for a couple days? Is that how it goes?
They could do that for the day party if they wanted. I wish they did. I probably would have taken the blow, but the money would have been nice. Yeah.
So the nighttime is different?
Nighttime is set up by South by, and so if you're part of the South by showcase, then they book all the bands.
I see.
Yeah.
And so you sign up to be part of the showcase because then South by proper pays you for.
They pay us a stage rental fee, but really we make our money off of the booze. And that's when you up the charges, everything that used to be. I mean, now the prices are out of control, but what used to be a $5.50 drink would become a $7 drink, and now
of course
now it's not too bad. Back then it was like,
but you're not gouging people. I mean, $1.50 more.
In Austin it was though. If you were an Austin night and you walked into room 710 on a wristband night and you got charged $7 for Crown and Coke back in 2002, you'd be like, what the fuck is up with this place? Yeah.
But everybody was doing it, right? Was Beerland
during
not
South
doing
by?
It? Yeah.
Beerland was their own beast. Beerland was there is, because with every punk rock movement, there is a need to tell the corporate to fuck off.
Right.
And Beerland was built by Randall Stockton and his wife Danya. And they're just true, pure punk rockers. And they didn't do the drugs and they didn't do the drinking, but they hosted the music.
Right.
And they would make sure that place was standing. And that's about it. That's all he could say. You can't complain about the smell. You can't complain about anything else because it's standing. And you get to watch this rock show where people are bleeding and spitting and sweating all over the place. And it's safe for you to be there. And so Randall and Danya knew so many bands that they didn't need to have a South by sponsorship. They just ran their whole thing South by free. And so they were just packed all the time, because if you're coming to Austin to see punk rock shows during South by, you know that Beerland's your spot.
Wow.
And so you would just have people there from 10 in the morning till 2 in the morning.
I'm pretty sure I saw the all Japanese teenage
Yes.
girl band, Oreska band there.
Yeah. They were big on Japan Night. Yeah.
Beerland sponsored Japan Night.
Well,
all the time?
they were big with the Japanese band. Actually, it was Elysium that did Japan Night, because they were a 3,000 capacity.
Oh, wow.
In comparison, our capacity during South by was we went from 221 to like 299.
You could get 300 people in there.
That's all we could do. Yeah.
I mean, that seems like a lot.
It seems like a lot, but we could probably, if we really wanted to great white it, we could have done like 350.
Great. What were some of your favorite bands that played at Room 710?
Well, the steadiest ones were Tia Carrera, Pong. Those guys were always there for us. Squat Thrust was my favorite. I mean, what better band name do you have than Squat Thrust, right? And just completely talented. You're just like, how are these guys not signed? You're like, oh yeah, well, there's a reason why they're not signed, because they are Squat Thrust.
Which means they're a little too punk rock.
They do some things that, is going to get you off the label.
Oh,
yeah, but I don't know anything. I don't know any specifics. I don't
you
even
were
know any
upstairs in
stories.
the office.
Upstairs in the office thinking, why isn't Squat Thrust like somewhere, somehow doing something else?
Any big name acts play club or play Room 710 while you were there?
Well, the South by was what brought in most of the big name bands.
You don't have to apologize.
So, I would say the coolest thing that happened at South by was White Stripes were being promoted, and so we had their official first showcase.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know
So
that.
they were being promoted during South by, and so it was a hush-hush secret band type thing, and they were going to perform at 710, and it turned out that it was like their first national exposure show, so it was like the one that made them, the whatever people
Help blow
were
'em
writing
up.
about. Yeah.
Is there video of this or audio?
There's no video of it, but I could tell you that I was asked to let her change in the office, and I
Meg?
said sure, yeah,
Meg changed in your office.
yes. Meg changed in my
That's
office.
beautiful.
I let her in, and I closed the door, and then she came out, and I said, have a good time.
Yeah. Nice red top and red pants.
Right. So probably my favorite conversation was with Victim's family from San Francisco, some hard rock pioneers, and really cool, low-key guys, and it was just fun. It's just it was a fun club to have.
So you spent 20 years in Austin?
I spent 24 years.
24 years in
Yeah.
Austin. The longest stretch you've ever been anywhere, right?
Probably, yeah. Absolutely.
What made you come back to LA?
Well, it's funny because what got me into Austin from LA was LA, and now what gets me back into LA is Austin. So, yeah.
You were pushed out, do you feel like?
Absolutely, yeah.
Did you miss LA though?
There was some that I missed. I mean, everyone misses their childhood. Everyone misses, when I come back and I drive around and I'm whimsically thinking, but, it's not like, oh, I wish I was here the entire time.
Right.
No, it was more, the problem with Austin was when COVID happened, everything became unaffordable, and you lost your working class, and we all got pushed out of the city and outside of Travis County, which in Texas, you move from one county to another, especially from Travis into either Hayes or Bastrop. I mean, you might as well be moving into a deep southern state.
It's that
It's
noticeable.
it's very bad. I think it's very bad.
So
But
a lot-
I'm
a lot of-
Jewish,
a lot
so,
They don't like the Jews in Texas?
we just have a lot of cultural PTSD. So yeah, if someone looks at me kind of funny because I'm wearing a Dodger hat, I will, first I'll be like, well, yeah, I'm from California. And then it's like, well, why am I feeling this way? Oh yeah, it's because my people have been pegged for so long.
Are there Jews in Texas? I feel like there's a bunch of Jews there,
There are
right?
Jews in Texas.
Okay.
But but are there Jews in Elgin, which is where I was pushed out to for a year? And the answer is no. There was Osher, It was Usher.
The rattling that we hear is your beautiful dog, Murgatroyd.
Right. He's the
How-
Catahoula.
How old is he?
He is 11 years old.
He's got a lot of life
He's
for
got
a 77-year-old dog.
Yes, with 2 knee operations. Absolutely.
Wow.
He's pretty wild.
And he's got the David Bowie eyes.
Yes, he does.
One blue, one gray.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so did you think about any other place when you were thinking about leaving Austin than L.A.?
Oh, no. No.
This was it.
This was it. I mean, a large part of it is because my dad just turned 82. But this is pretty much where I want. First of all, weed is free. No, not free, but you can smoke it and you can buy it, and so I could work in distributing it. One would think, as opposed to in Texas, where I could do that conceivably and yet end up, in trouble.
Is that what you want to do?
It's
here?
one reason why I came out here. So one reason why I went to Austin was I was writing my book about my mom's murder, and I felt like I could finish it out there. And unfortunately, it took 24 years, but I finally finished my book about my mom's murder.
Congratulations!
Thank you very much. And so one reason to come out here is to get back into the industry, because I'm a writer more than I am a weed salesman. But I'll be a weed salesman until someone wants to hire me as a writer.
And I'm more of a writer and than I am a podcaster or Uber driver.
Yeah, exactly.
But whatever gets us across the finish line, right?
Exactly. You do what you do. You do what you have to.
So, are you employed right now?
I am not employed right now. I just got to town on Monday the 20th.
Really?
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
All right, good.
So, I hope to be employed soon.
So you texted me almost as soon as you got here.
Absolutely.
I feel so warm
Yeah.
inside. God
Yeah.
bless you. All right. So what's your dream weed job in LA?
Probably just a regular salesman. I could be, I could open and,
You want to be a bud tender somewhere?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. I think, I just think running a live music venue, I've handled cash, and, I just think it'd be like a good, safe person to have behind the register. But
That's for sure. Do you know all the definitions? Do you know all the... Because anytime I talk to a weed person, which on this podcast we've talked to a few, it's like a whole nother
right.
thesaurus.
Yeah, I couldn't get into all that type of thing. But, in my opinion, it's like you walk into a store, there's the hot 20-year-old, and then there's the young stud muffin, and then there could be me, right? The 52-year-old grizzled Jewish guy wearing a Dodger cap, like, hey, what are you looking for?
Is there a Jewish dispensary that, embraces it?
I don't know, but I came to town with Kosher Kush, which won Cannabis Cup about 10 years ago, was blessed by a rabbi, and is still being sold on the market in Austin, Texas. So.
Kosher Kush. Tell us a little something about Kosher Kush.
It's it's definitely a Kush. That means it's more of an indica for you. And but most importantly, the seeds were blessed by a rabbi, and that is really all that matters. That sells it right there.
Let's talk about the Valley.
Okay.
You grew up in the Valley and you moved back to the Valley.
Right.
What was it like growing up in the Valley in, late 70s, early 80s?
Yeah, well, so I was there 1970 through 81 until my mom moved us to Portland, Oregon, and then I came back in 85.
Oh, I didn't know that you moved.
Yeah, well, my mom was an educator,
Right.
and she ended up, she wanted to have a good job, and the one-day school in Portland, Oregon, hired her as principal. And
cool.
all hell broke loose after that. And it was sad. Oh, it was sad. It was, she's a single mother. They're from California. How religious could she be? Well, she was pretty religious, and she was pretty open-minded. And she won over all the people except the son of the man who hired her. And he was so interested in having a date with my mom, and she rejected him. And he was a member of the board. And seriously, after the first year, which was pretty tumultuous because people wanted her job and she got it and she was an outsider and all that shit, all that stuff that she won them over on.
Yeah.
A month before school was to begin, the son calls an emergency meeting, and all my mom's supporters were gone, and they voted her out. And so we had this really brief 2-year stay in Portland, and then she moved back to California, moved to San Diego.
Oh.
And then in '85, I moved in with my dad.
So what was it like being a kid in the Valley?
It was, I guess it was, when you're looking back from 52 years old to when I was 11.
Yep.
Pretty free and happy. I rode a bike all over the place, and
What kind of bike?
it was a Schwinn banana seat.
Nice. With the shifter between your legs?
No shifters. It was just I was very, very lame as a
No,
child.
no.
It was rusty. I know that
Did-
because I left it
did
out in
you-
the rain a lot.
Did you have the big thing behind the seat? There was a bar behind the seat that sometimes...
Oh, that went up, and no, I did not have that. It wasn't.
Did you jump this bike?
No, but I rode it from so I was raised on Martha Street between Whitsett and Bel Air, south of Burbank. And so I would ride that out to Valley College or my dad's apartment. Let's see, he was across the street from Grant High School, so I would ride my bike there.
Not too far.
Not too far from here,
Yeah.
yeah, not too far from here. And really, seriously, all this traffic right now did not happen back then. This is not the Valley I was raised in, so everything is new.
Well, this is people like me who moved here.
Right.
This is what happens.
Right, exactly. When your planet goes from 2 billion to 8 billion.
Right.
Yeah.
There's going to be more people. So what you're saying is back then a kid could ride his bike around the
Absolutely.
Val and not have to worry about traffic.
Not have to worry about traffic at all. Oh yeah, a lot of freedom. I mean, it was fun. I had my my friends from day school were all in the neighborhood. It was still a very Jewish neighborhood. Back then it was a bustling Jewish neighborhood.
What temple did you go to?
I went to a Dot Ariel on Burbank and Laurel Canyon. That was actually after we went to Shard Tzedek, which was Orthodox, right there on Chandler and west of Bel Air.
Why were you going to Orthodox?
Well, my mom and dad were Orthodox people.
Oh, they were?
Well, yeah, and my mom loved the Orthodox lifestyle, except for all the oppressive bullshit on women. So minus that, she was perfectly happy as Orthodox. And then when
But how are we talking? Different plates of food and
yeah, we do that.
really?
Oh yeah, I still keep kosher.
You do?
Uh-huh. Although now I'm vegetarian, so I only have one plate.
So it's easier.
It's a lot easier when you're vegetarian, but I will not eat, I will not make meat in this house. I guess my friends could come over with a burger and, whatever, they'll use a paper towel. But yeah, I'm pretty serious about my kosher.
Were you kosher in
upbringing.
Texas too?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I didn't know this.
Yeah, they had one of the HEBs in Texas or in Austin was the kosher HEB. So
Wow.
the Heb, as the locals called it. By the way, shout out HEB, the greatest fucking supermarket ever. I'm sorry, Southern California.
Is it really that
but
good?
Yes, Austin has out California to California with HEB, where you can get affordable green tea in numerous varieties, as well as pea protein powder available at any store.
Hebe is not an authorized sponsor of this podcast. Okay, well, this makes a little bit more sense then, because when I was at the LA Times, you were notorious for bickering with people in the comments.
Yes.
Back when newspaper websites had comments.
True.
R.I.P. They should bring them back. It's terrible that... I think it's terrible that the readers don't get a voice on the page. But you used it more than anybody.
I was pretty vocal. Yeah, I did. I have my reasons for it. I kind of feel like there's a real thing that happened, and then there's the way it's portrayed. And if you're constantly portraying something, which in my wheelhouse. We have to, we should, and I'll get a little political just for a little bit.
Fine.
Because this is the wheelhouse that we're in. But, when it comes to Israel and the Palestinians, there is a legitimate history and there is a fake history. And when people are living the life of a fake history, you have to let them know there's some kind of, that they're wrong. And there's a lot of that happening.
I have been known to fight in comments too.
Yeah.
And on Twitter. I probably did it today. I'm sure I did it yesterday. And people ask me all the time, do you think you're convincing anybody? Like, why are you doing this?
Right.
Isn't it a waste of time?
Right.
Do people say that to you too?
Well, I got an answer for that, but this is me back then because now I consider it all a waste of time.
Oh, you do? In retrospect?
I consider it now to be a waste of time. I think back then there was sort of like a fight going on because I also did this with the Hollywood Reporter. It was surprising to come, and that was apolitical. That was just seeing fascism show up in the comments section at the Hollywood Reporter. You're just like, what the fuck are you doing here?
People would just like out of the blue?
Talking about Jews, talking about this and the bankers.
Yeah.
And just like, what are you doing here? And being up right-wing talking points. You're just like, what are you talking about?
How did you feel about Dave Chappelle talking about the Jews?
I think Dave Chappelle touched on the subject that if he really wanted to do something about, he could, and I think he half-assed it. Because, and I'm not going to blame it on Dave Chappelle, but the day after, there was spray paint. There was a gravesite in Chicago that was spray painted with swastikas.
Right.
And it's like, so what we're dealing with is real. It's really real. And there's no point in saying that, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, there are a lot of Jews in Hollywood. I could totally understand why you feel that way. Well, yeah, there are a lot of Jews in Hollywood because there were not Jews in the finance industry, in the oil industry, in the transportation industry forever and ever and ever until the Jews created Hollywood and they became their own businessmen. And that's how Hollywood started. It's like, and so, if there, and who doesn't want to be in Hollywood? So just because Jewish people created Hollywood, that Jewish people should not work in Hollywood for the sake of diversity of some sort?
Do you see Chappelle as a comedian or as an agitator or as what?
I think he wants to see himself as an informer. And I think he's oftentimes informed, but I think that when he doesn't know what he's talking about, he doesn't act like he doesn't know what he's talking about. And that's the danger. If you don't know what you're talking about and you talk about it as if you know what you're talking about, then you're just opening yourself up to all these people who are like, what the fuck are you talking about?
So what should Chappelle know that he doesn't seem to know in your mind?
Well, why was Hollywood created by Jewish people? That's a very basic answer. It's because there was anti-Semitism in your basic American backstory, just like there's been racism in your basic American backstory. So Jews were not allowed to work in certain industries, and they were forced to work in their own lane. And so that's what they did. They used to be, they used to like burlesque shows, and they used to just, they had stages and they had movie theaters when it was like a nickel, and you would like, and then they became movie producers because why not? That was a logical leap, and no one was stopping them from doing it.
Right.
And so, the problem is when people stop you from doing it.
Yeah.
That's the problem. The problem isn't that Jamie Lee Curtis, is the daughter of two Hollywood actors and she finally won an Academy Award. That shouldn't be a problem. The problem would only be if she's a terrible person. And I don't think she's a terrible person. She's married to Christopher Guest.
And she showed us her boobies in Trading Places.
I mean, how great is that?
What more does she have to do to win us over? But you're right. To have a Spinal Tap guy in the front row of the Oscars was fantastic.
Absolutely.
Wasn't it great?
Absolutely.
And neither of her parents ever won. I think they both only got nominated once. I don't even think a guy like Tony Curtis who died at 85, you would think that the Academy would have given him a governor's award, an honorary award. No. And so I think she really did feel like that she's the type of actress who doesn't typically get on Oscar-type movies. And suddenly,
it's a new Oscars. Let's face it. It's a new Oscars. And I'm okay with that. I mean, that doesn't bother me none.
Because the old Oscars, All Quiet on the Western Front or The Fabelmans.
Right. more Fablemans. I think All Quiet is new Oscars because it's all CGI. It's all
what I'm saying
CGI on the
is
Western Front.
to me, that's the typical movie that would win an Oscar.
Right.
Old war, fucking boring
Yeah,
ass
but
movies.
no CGI. I think
Right.
if it was the CGI just ruins it for me. It's like to me it's like that doesn't make it a movie anymore.
Right.
Put it in animation.
Let's go back to Jews in Hollywood. Didn't you tell me once upon a time that at your temple were famous celebrities of Hollywood?
Yes, I went to shul with the Fonz. So
Oh, when he was being the Fonz?
when he was the Fonz. So when he was the biggest man in American TV, he was showing up at the high holiday services at a Dot Ariel where it's mixed seating because it's conservative, and conservative does not mean Orthodox.
Oh, so
Yes.
women could sit next to men.
Exactly.
Interesting.
So that was one reason why we chose a Dot Ariel after Shari Tzedek.
Because your parents had enough of the
My mom did.
the full blown.
Yeah, this is after the divorce. This is post-divorce.
Oh,
Yes.
Did you know that the Fonz went to that temple?
My mom had mentioned it. and then I saw him.
Were you like me, a huge fan of Happy Days?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I wanted my high school experience to be just like that, and I was a little disappointed it wasn't.
Well. Also, there weren't really were there hangouts like Arnold's anywhere in the Val? Like, could you
I
just show
didn't-
up and
Yeah, not me.
no?
Yeah, I don't think so. Not in my school either. I
That's
went
all.
to a private school, so all the hangouts were basements of really nice houses that
Right.
I was never really
And I don't
Going
think
to.
that world really ever did exist.
right outside of a movie.
Just a real hamburger shop where everybody was fun and
Right.
respectful.
I mean, there was like a Taco Bell in between our school and North Hollywood High that I think a lot of people went to, There was
Right.
that. Yeah.
Did people swarm Fonzie and ask for autographs and stuff?
No, I wanted to shake Fonzie's hand, and so I asked him, and he stuck out his hand, and I shook it. I said, "Thank you."
So he was a mensch then, as he is today.
Absolutely.
That's fantastic.
Absolutely.
Did you run across any other celebs while you were a youngster?
Oh, well, there was, we were coming back during a carpool, John Warner from Chips. We saw him.
Wait. There was John and Ponch?
Yes.
So the blonde motorcycle cop?
Yes.
Back when we liked cops.
Back when we liked cops. And so we were so excited to see him and we followed him into a bathroom, and his friend was like, "You can't follow him into the bathroom." We were like, "But he's Chips. He's John from Chips. Of course we can."
Did he look like it?
Oh, it was him.
Right.
Absolutely.
But he
Oh,
looked...
yeah, of course. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't we didn't figure it out any other way than noticing him.
That hair.
There,
Right?
baby, yeah.
Okay, so growing up in the Val, when I think of the Valley, I think of the Sherman Oaks Galleria.
Right.
How far away was that a bike ride away for you? Did you ever go there?
It wasn't a bike ride away from me the first time. It would have been a bike ride away from me the second time. I would just drive there. I wasn't bike riding as a 15, 16, 17-year-old. I was just driving.
You had a car.
Yeah. Yeah, I would drive my grandmother's Monarch, Mercury Monarch. And then I think my senior year I got my first car, a Ford Escort Pony.
Not perfect first car for
Absolutely.
a kid. Okay, I saw Song Remains the Same midnight movie in the Valley. Did you go to midnight movies as a teenager?
No, we always had a Rocky Horror Picture Show though. It was always United Artists on. There was a UA theater on. Victory and Laurel Canyon, I want to say. So, and they would always have.
Is that Sherman Oaks?
That is, I think, North Hollywood, Van
Right.
Nuys. Van Nuys, Sherman Oaks, North Hollywood, it all kind of. Sherman Oaks is more closer to the 101 where all the houses are. And then you get like to the industrial stores, retail stuff, and all that becomes like Van Nuys, North Hollywood.
So it sounds like you went to Rocky Horror more than once.
Oh, no, I didn't really. I just saw that it was always out there. It was always running. That's the
Right.
thing. It was just a part of my childhood because it was always Saturday midnight show.
Where were you when the movie Valley Girl and the movie Fast Times? Were you in high school during when those were released?
I saw Fast Times at Ridgemont High when it came out the first weekend at the Galleria. So
No.
it was the first meta moment of my experience, and everyone in the theater, the opening sequence of the mall, everyone's like, "Hey, that's pretty funny," and then then you zoom in on the Pacific Theaters guy, and we're all, "Fuck yeah, this is the coolest movie ever."
Because you're in that
We're
theater.
in the theater.
Wow.
So it was a very meta
Okay,
moment.
Was the pizza place
Yes,
right there too?
absolutely. Yeah. Oh yeah, no, that is the
That mall
Galleria.
was that mall.
That is the Galleria.
What was it, Sam Goody or Licorice Pizza? I think it was Licorice Pizza, where Damone is, where he goes up to the stand-up cardboard cutout of Debbie Harry.
Yeah.
That was probably at that, because it was at every mall.
Right. Yeah, no, it was, it was my mall with the glass elevator. I saw Platoon there.
Okay. Aside from the fact that they filmed it at your mall,
Yes.
did the audience love Fast Times right
Oh,
away?
absolutely. How can you not? It was one of the greatest movies ever.
It
Yeah,
is.
Yeah. And it started my love affair with Jennifer Jason Leigh.
Which is, mine has never died.
Has not died.
Yeah.
We love a lady who is willing to bear it all in the movies, and she does such a great job with everything, with all her roles.
Yeah. Yeah. Even that Tarantino movie where she...
Oh yeah.
Did she have like only one eye going?
Yeah, and she spits on people.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
She was great.
Oh yeah.
Okay. The Song Valley Girl.
Yes.
How was that received by the teens of the Valley?
I think most people, well, let's put it this way. I went to Oakwood, so I didn't go to North Hollywood High. So I went to where the song, I guess, was inspired because
Really?
this Moon Unit went to Oakwood.
Is that a private school?
It is a private school.
Is it
Yeah.
Jewish?
No, it's college prep. So,
So your parents paid some bucks to get you in there.
well, lucky for me, I was involved in a car accident at 13 in between San Diego and LA. So there was a settlement with that. And that was how, I was able to get the Ford Escort pony, but also how I paid for the Oakwood education. Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah. I paid a third of my way throughout college, with that money.
Good for you.
Yeah. I mean, my parents instilled that in me. It was a good move on their behalf. And yeah.
Were you okay after this accident?
I was back when you were in the hospital for 10 days. I was in the hospital for 10 days. I was in traction for 7. And I'm still I physically still have issues because, I'm getting older. So whatever arthritis I have is based off of that one leg is shorter than the other.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you use that with the ladies? Ever been with a guy
You
with
would think
one
that,
leg?
a bow-legged man would have some luck in that regard. So yeah.
Ever been with a guy that used to have a Ford Escort? Here's your chance, baby.
Ford Escort with natural air.
Okay, wait a second. I think we skipped over something here. Did you go to school with Moon Unit?
I went to Moon Unit school. I didn't go to school with Moon Unit.
She's older than you.
She's older than me. Yeah.
Were any of the other Zappas at that school?
Dweezil went to that school. He's younger than me.
So you missed both Zappas.
And then I think the youngest, obviously, the youngest is the youngest.
Yeah.
Yeah. I miss the Zappas. I went to school with the poor kid from Poltergeist. He was
little
in my
blo-
French class.
Oh, the
Oliver.
the kid.
Yeah, the boy.
I don't remember him for some
He's
reason.
the guy who didn't die from the movie. And so my best friend and I, we were terrible because, we wanted to pick on someone and we chose Oliver. And
No.
so, yeah, we would be like, you're not special because you're still here, man. They took the good little actress girl. And anyways, we were meet up poor Oliver. Sorry, Oliver. I forget your last name. I'm sorry, man.
Okay, let's wrap it up with the Dodgers.
Okay.
You are wearing a Dodger cap.
Yes.
You wore a Dodger cap while you were in Texas.
Absolutely.
You never wore a Houston Astros cap?
Oh, God, no. The Houston Astros did a great thing with J.R. Richard in that they had employed J.R. Richard. He was a great pitcher.
Yeah.
Motherfucking great pitcher. And, outside of those 70s and 80s Astros, I find no pleasure in them. And
Well, those
I still
uniforms
blame them
back
for
then,
2017.
the J.R. Richard, Nolan Ryan era uniforms were top notch, right?
Absolutely.
Maybe the best ever in baseball.
Well, best ever outside of Outside of LA, sure. I love the Dodger.
The Dodgers uniform is incredibly classy.
Yes.
And what I like about it is it's not that much different than Jackie Robinson's jerseys. And I don't feel like the Dodgers do a lot of the monkey business that the other teams do with their uniforms.
Well, that silly Nike thing, the Los Dodgers.
Right.
I don't really like that at all.
But I bet you our Latino friends love it.
They might.
Yeah.
They might. I can't really say for sure.
And they're a huge chunk of Dodger fans.
Yes. But, I don't know. I think they should have done something else if they were going to do something else.
But if that's a huge chunk of your audience.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, that's Nike's way of thinking.
And if you're not offending them, that's the other thing.
Right.
Because when I heard Doyers, I was like,
right.
Is that offensive?
Right.
And it seems like it's not.
I guess not.
I think they like that.
I always think it's kind of silly, but,
Right.
whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so did you ever lose faith in the Dodgers?
No, I followed them throughout. I mean, their worst years were my high school years, 86 and 87. And then, of course, 88 was the great year. But 86 was awful, and 87 was just as bad.
Where were you when Kirk Gibson hit that home run in 88?
I was in San Miguel Hall on UCSB campus.
Yeah.
Yes, and I was a loud mouth on the couch, and we had a crowded room.
Yeah.
And we had so many people from the Bay Area.
I bet.
And they were mostly Giants fans. There were like a couple of A's fans.
Yeah.
And so the A's fans, obviously, I kind of felt more connected with the A's fans because we were in it for the same reasons. It was the rest of the Bay Area bozos that hated the Dodgers just because they were the Dodgers. And so there was a lot of that going on. And when Kirk hit that home run, man, it was just like everyone had shut the fuck up except me and three other people. And and then soon enough, by the time we were done celebrating, the room was empty. It was great. It was just us.
So you were in the dorms for that. So I am a little older than you.
Yeah, just a little.
A little. Because I came down here to babysit my stepbrothers, and they were being very loud. And so I sent them to their room. Because I was like, if you don't appreciate what's going on here, first of all, I hate you. Secondly, I don't hate you, but this is something great happening right in front of you. And I didn't realize how great it was going to end up.
Yeah.
But you could see it building.
Yeah.
And Vin Scully, of course, the greatest narrator of all.
Absolutely.
Spelling it all out. Kirk Gibson, even Dennis Eckersley. Who doesn't love Dennis Eckersley, right?
Well,
Right?
his daughter, his adopted daughter.
What's wrong with her?
She gave birth in Connecticut woods and dropped her baby off it was bad. And so she's got a drug issue. It was recent. Yeah. She doesn't like him. She's upset at her folks.
All right. Well,
It's too bad.
so okay. So you did get to see that.
Yeah. Oh, it was one of the greatest moments of my life. Absolutely.
How do you feel about the most recent World Series championship?
Absolutely doesn't exist for me. I'm so mad
Really?
I'm still mad
It's
at the
a Mickey
Astros.
Mouse trophy to you.
Oh, it will always be. I mean, what did they get? They got a $5 million fine because those are the rules in baseball.
A fine
It's
for
what? The team got fined like $5 million because they stole the World Series in 2017. Oh yeah, I'm still mad about that. I'm always be mad about that.
Wait. You're talking about the Astros.
Yeah.
I'm asking you about when the Dodgers finally won again.
Oh, 2020.
Yeah.
Oh, that counts.
That counts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing else to be said about that.
This is why I love you, Asher. You have a heart of gold. But when you're mad at something, it's
Well, there's a point to hold on to it. So just to bring it back a little bit, the reason why I used to do what I did on the message boards was because there was going to be somebody who was going to read what I said, and that point had to be made. And somebody will look at that, and they just might view the world differently. I dated a gal, great great gal. I really love her. We love each other, but we're not married or anything like that, and we would never be. But when we started dating, she was on the opposite end of that spectrum than me, and I explained to her exactly what it is that she needs to do. You just need to like look at the whole story, and now she knows more about the Israeli government than not necessarily me, but definitely most of the people that she has conversations with. And it's just like, hey, I trust what you have to say because you know all these people. Mm-hmm. You are name dropping well. You do know who the previous prime minister was, from currently. Like Bibi, who was Bibi mad at? You know who that guy is.
Yeah.
And that's what matters.
I haven't heard about Hezbollah in a long time.
Yeah, well, fuck those guys.
But what I'm saying is their PR department is pretty bad.
Right. Well, Syria had that. So it wasn't Syria that had the explosion, but Lebanon had the explosion, and Hezbollah was in charge of Lebanon. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I think since that port explosion, which says a lot about, I think, Lebanon because Texas had a fertilizer explosion and killed 15 volunteer firefighters in West Texas. And our attorney general was the current governor of Texas. And he rolled over and let the Koch brothers do whatever the fuck they did. It was their fertilizer that killed 15 people.
Back to the Dodgers, sir.
Yes.
How do you feel about this new announcer? Joe,
He's not Vince Scully.
Well, nobody is.
Yeah, no one is.
I can't even
He's
listen
okay. He's grown on me. I think at first.
Yes?
Yeah, at first I was like, who the fuck is this guy? But,
right.
Because I obviously didn't know anything about baseball. He came from a football background. And so he knew very little about baseball.
Is that the problem I have with him?
Yeah, Joe Davis, yeah.
But he also just seems like just modern, phony baloney announcer guy.
Yeah, but he does his homework. I think he's been doing his, like, over the 5 years that whatever it's been, I think he's done his homework.
And sitting next to Oral, yeah.
Yeah, with his
Who
dad
does
jokes.
know his stuff.
Who does know his stuff, but his dad jokes suck, so.
I don't like that team at all, that broadcasting team.
I don't.
How do you feel about Charlie Steiner?
I think Charlie's all right.
You wouldn't have put him on the TV booth?
No, I kind of put him on the same level as Jerry Doggett. Sorry, Charlie. Yeah. Like I liked Ross Porter.
Yes.
I thought when it was Vin, that was the greatest way to listen to a ball game.
Yeah.
And so I'm used to 3 innings of Ross Porter just throwing down the stats and giving you all this backstory nonsense. I mean, it's absolutely nothing, but you're just going to get between, innings 4 and 6.
Yeah. And
then back comes Vin with the same stories from 1 and 3, but who cares? It's Vin. It's beautiful. That was great baseball.
When was the last time you've been to Dodger Stadium?
With you, when I got the world champion, 81 world champion blanket.
So you haven't seen the new behind the...
No.
Well, we got to go.
Yeah, we should.
Because they've opened up the outfield now, and you can buy any ticket, and you can roam around the entire park now.
That's what I hear.
Which makes me very happy. Because I want to roam. I want to see it all.
Yeah.
I don't have to sit in the box seats all day or in the bleachers all day. I want to see the people.
Yeah.
And so you can see all the people now.
Yeah, that's great.
How do you feel about your team this year?
Well, it's definitely a new team. I'm sad about Cody not being with us. I blame Scott Boras for being an asshole, but that's
the guy hit like
I know.
$110.
That's why he should have stayed with the Dodgers on a little bit of a discount on his last year of arbitration.
Because I think the Cubs got him for like $1 million or something.
You guys got him for $17 million guaranteed, so that includes a potential buyout. And if you don't buy him out, it goes up to he gets $12 million next year.
But is the Dodgers paying for most of that though?
No.
We paid $17 million for Cody Bellinger?
You're paying $10 million and then a buyout. But yes, it's going to be $17 million.
Okay.
So it's Scott Boras telling you that Cody's a really good fielder and he's a really good runner and he's going to get his swing back. I just want him to adjust his swing. That's all I want him to do.
He's a former Rookie of the Year?
Yeah.
I mean, that's not bad. $10 million for...
Yeah.
And what is he, 26, 27?
Yeah, exactly. And he's been making $17 million the last 3 years anyways. So
Right.
because he won the MVP at such a young
Would you
age.
have kept Clayton?
Oh, Clayton's still on the team.
Would you have kept him?
Absolutely.
I would not have.
Oh,
Because I look at him the same way that the Lakers had to deal with Kobe,
okay.
which was a guy past his prime
All right.
who's taken up all this cap space and all this money.
Sure.
But you don't look at it that way.
No.
He's your boy.
Absolutely. He's done so much for the team. He deserves. I mean, they're giving up. He's going year by year.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. And we give him a nice. We give him a nice contract. I smoke a lot of pot during ball games, and that's my contribution to the Dodgers season. So,
Wait, you're not part of the Magic Johnson ownership team?
believe it or not,
The Jews don't run all of Hollywood.
not this one. I just want a job in it. That'd be cool.
Would you have kept Justin Turner?
I think Justin Turner wanted to get more money. I didn't think he was that bad in the field, but obviously the brass did. And I guess Justin Turner didn't really defend himself in any way. So maybe he felt he was losing a spot, but I thought he did fine at third base last year.
Did you like Trey Turner as a Dodger?
Yes, I did. And I think they kind of messed up when they put Gavin in center. So they traded for Trey, put him at second, and put Gavin in center. And they should have switched that. They should have put Trey in center and Gavin at second. They would have done better against the Braves, I think.
I guess I'm asking that as a loaded question because I feel like neither Trey nor Freddie Freeman really loved being Dodgers.
Well, Freddie's from out here.
Yeah, but I still feel like he wants to be back in Atlanta.
No, I don't think that.
All right, good.
Yeah,
I'm projecting.
but Trey Turner, I could see that. No reason not to. I mean, he gave it his all. It's not like he lollygagged it. He's a professional, and that's what matters.
What's your stance on my friend Little League Puig?
On who?
Puig.
Oh, I love Yasiel Puig.
Would you buy back his contract from Korea or wherever he's at?
Oh, not right now. No, the poor guy is just. Yeah, he's lost the stamina, I think.
You think so?
I think so.
Wasn't he the MVP of the World Series over there? I think he's doing good.
Yeah, but he's also got like that legal issue, and it's going to take a lot of
Who
stamina.
among us doesn't have legal issues? Would you have signed Trevor Bauer?
No.
What's your stance on him?
Well, I think first of all, I wouldn't have signed him in the first place because
Cy Young Award winner?
Cy Young Award winner, but everyone knows that you're using sticky stuff.
He admitted to
it,
it.
and he said to the world he was doing it. And
he said all of Major League Baseball's doing it, and
right,
here's how
and
you catch it.
And you need to change the rules. So I kind of respect him for that.
Would
I
we-
think
would we-
I think when he was with the Dodgers before he got caught punching that chick in the face, when he was with the Dodgers,
Allegedly.
no, I think it happened.
But the court didn't.
The court didn't think it was illegal to punch her in the face
Because she asked for
She
it,
asked for
according
it.
to the court?
According to the court, it
This
was
is-
all part of
this is-
it
this
was
is
all
the
part
most
of consensual
controversial
sex.
conversation we could have right now.
I mean,
But fuck it. We're almost an hour into this podcast.
but
If
you
you've
know what?
lasted
I
this
think
long-
if you have a starting pitcher who likes to punch women in the face and choke them in bed, I think that will really have an effect on the women who want to watch and root for your team.
Exactly.
And that's why nobody else has touched Trevor Bauer
No.
except some team in Japan.
That's right.
Because you know why? Because they're kind of kinky in Japan.
So they would, you raise a good point.
Yeah.
They
You can-
are.
Yeah. They got some
And-
weird
and-
shit going on in
And,
Japan.
and they would understand because it's even hard for us to talk about it.
Right.
It's hard for us to say she literally asked for it because it makes us sound like jerks.
I mean, let's put it this way. She doesn't come off as like a really nice individual to me.
Right.
Based off of her actions from what had happened and how his career has derailed. I mean, I was never a Trevor Bauer fan, but
Right.
I am a man. And I think if you're going to have, I think it's easy to take men down if you are an unstable woman. I just do. And it doesn't mean that every woman who takes a man down is unstable.
Right.
But it is an avenue that unstable women will do. And in some cases, this happened. But he's also unstable. So it was a
Exactly.
perfect match. It was,
It was a match made in hell.
Yeah.
Also, did you see the either the picture or the video of her after this alleged assault?
No, I won't see stuff like
She
that.
took a selfie from bed in like the early morning, like it was sunlight, natural light, and she wasn't beaten up. And she was kind of like bragging, hey, look at me with this guy.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. He seems like your typical frat boy, privileged in a sense that, you know, he probably had anything he wanted when he was at UCLA. And then he shows up in the Major League Baseball and figures out how to work the system with the sticky stuff.
Right.
And brag about it.
Right.
And
well, I mean, he even challenged. I mean, what I respected was he challenged MLB to enforce the rules.
Right.
But he still went on to win the Cy Young Award. He was still a over 4 ERA pitcher before that.
Yeah.
And you know, and so it's just like, Jesus, Dodgers, why did you front load this contract? Why did you do this?
I think it's because I think the Dodgers wanted him to teach them how to do this.
Maybe.
Because they didn't need him.
No,
I mean, he was their number 3 starter when they got him.
Well,
right?
they gave him that weird contract. If he didn't have to be a Dodger, he could have gone out of his contract if he wanted to. He could have been bought out. That was like his decision to be released by the Dodgers. So he could have ended that relationship too if he didn't like it. And that's what they were waiting for him to do. Yeah. And he's like, no, I want my money. Okay, great. You got your money. You don't have a career. You aren't going to have a career, but you got your money. So you made that decision.
But what kind of money were you talking?
Oh, thousands. I know.
Like 300, like 37 million a year, right?
Yeah.
37
million?
million?
I mean, that was a front-loaded part of the deal. I think it was like 15 or 17 million by the third year or something like that. I don't know the actual numbers, but I do know they declined in time as opposed to increased.
Okay. Your young Latino pitcher with the glasses who pushed Julio Urias.
Yes.
Who pushed a woman.
He did.
Do we feel bad about that?
Has he pushed her since?
There you go.
Yeah.
Did she ask to be pushed?
Probably not.
Right.
You know, but was she in high heels in a garage? Maybe.
No, I think she was in a parking lot.
Right. Oh, I thought it was a parking garage.
Maybe
I thought it was a Beverly Center. Yeah.
There was some parking going on.
Right. There was parking going on, and I think she had heels on, in all honesty.
Okay, I think Murgatroyd is telling us that we got to go. This dog has so much energy.
It's crazy. He's a Catahoula. He's a state dog of Louisiana. Now imagine, just think about Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
And football.
Okay.
LSU football. This is their state dog.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, real quick. What food places are you happy to frequent now that you're back in the Valley?
There's a really good Mexican seafood restaurant down Oxnard. I know it has Morisco's, but it ain't Morisco's. It's just got the word Morisco in the name.
Yeah.
So I like them. You know, I need to go to a couple of veggie places for sure.
Yeah.
So there's a veggie grill that I want to check out. Oh, sorry, my dog is now jumping on the interviewer.
Murgatroyd is
hey,
now
Merg,
sniffing my mic, jumping on top of the host.
Come here, bud.
I think that means it's time to go. Asher, we're so happy that you're back in LA.
Thanks, Tony. It's nice to be
I'm sorry
here.
it's raining.
Oh, that's what happens.
And it's flooding around your streets here in the Valley.
And yet, you know what? We have something to drink in 2 years, so.
True. Welcome back. We'll be going to Dodger games.
Yay.
All right.
Thanks, man.
I'll see you at the weed store.
Sounds great.
How great was Asher? You know who we'd like to sit back and talk about the old days on a rainy afternoon in the 818? Our Patreons. When you stoke us, you're saying, Tony, Jordan, here's an $8 cocktail. Screw it, have two. So shout out to our Patreons, Nancy Rommelman, Sean Atlow, Matt Mills, Sean Wallace, Greg and Molly, Jamie Taylor, Mark Johnson, Kira Ann, Barney Grinke, Ben Welsh, Jen Adams, Trevor Wilson, Bree Wild, Dougie Gyro, Christina Up North, Robin Carey, Adam Shorn, Ben from Down Under, and Chris from the ATX. Go to Patreon. To be a Patreon, just go to patreon.com/hereinla and give till it hurts. Also, shout out to our Angelinos. To be an Angelino, all you got to do is PayPal or Venmo, $25 or more, and we will list you on the Here in LA website or Medium blog forever. Just send your hard-earned cash to busblog@gmail.com. Want to support us, but you just moved halfway across the country and your money is a little bit tied up in the Silicon Valley Bank? No problem. You can still help Post your favorite episode on your Facebook. Oh my God, post too. Tweet something nice about this. Anytime you see me post about an episode, you can repost it or retweet it or do whatever you got to do. And for God's sake, tell your friends. Tell them how Here in LA is spelled, and it's on Apple Podcasts and Google and even Spotify. Here in LA is produced by myself, Tony Pierce, and a man who knows a few things about grungy Texas rock clubs, Jordan Katz. Editing, mixing, and music supervision by Jordan Katz. Songs by Orgone and Jordan Katz. Special thanks to Cindy for creating the logo, Jen for inspiring this, and music venue owners everywhere, giving the kids a place to hear and be heard. Thank you for the party rocking!